Hare Krishna. So we're going to have the Bhagavad Gita class now, but before that we will recite a small prayer. And this prayer is glorifying the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. So it's talking about his different leelas that he does. So please join along. It's very simple. So the way we do it is I will first sing one line, and then you respond. So it's like a call and respond manner. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe. Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Thank you all for joining. So before we move on to the verse, we'll recite some prayers. So again, it's a call and response. So please follow if you can. That would be nice. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So today we'll be reading the verse 15 from chapter 5 as it's displayed on the screen. So again, it's the call and response manner. So I'll recite the first line and then you can try and follow, and then we'll continue till the last line, and then maybe some of you can recite if you feel confident enough. Nadate kasyachit papam,
Nadate kasyachit papam,
na chaiva sukritam bivu,
na chaiva sukritam vidu,
agnane namritam jnanam,
agnanenamritam jnanam,
tena muhyanti jantavaha.
tena muhyanti jantavaha.
Nadate kasyachit papam,
Nadate kasyachit papam,
na chaiva sukritam bivu,
na chaiva sukritam vidu,
agnane navritam jnanam,
agnanenamritam jnanam,
tena muhyanti jantavaha.
tena muhyanti jantavaha.
Nadate kasyachit papam,
Nadate kasyachit papam,
na chaiva sukritam bivu,
na chaiva sukritam vidu,
agnane navritam jnanam,
agnanenamritam jnanam,
tena muhyanti jantavaha.
tena muhyanti jantavaha.
Anyone would like to recite?
Nadate kasyachit papam,
Nadate kasyachit papam,
na chaiva sukritam vidu, na chaiva sukritam vidu,
agnane navritam jnanam,
agnanenamritam jnanam, agnanenamritam jnanam, tena muhyanti jantavaha.
tena muhyanti jantavaha. Nadate kasyachit papam, na chaiva sukritam vivu, agnane navritam jnanam, tena muhyanti jantavaha. Anyone else would like to recite? Would you like to give it a try? You were doing so well. Okay, so we'll move on to the translation. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their knowledge. Purport. The Sanskrit word Bhivu means the Supreme Lord who is full of unlimited knowledge, riches, strength, fame, beauty, and renunciation. He is always satisfied in himself, undisturbed by sinful or pious activities. He does not create a particular situation for any living entity, but the living entity, bewildered by ignorance, desires to be put in certain conditions of life, and thereby his chain of action and reaction begins. The living entity is, by superior nature, full of knowledge. Nevertheless, he is prone to be influenced by the ignorance due to his limited power. The Lord is omnipotent, but the living entity is not. The Lord is Bhivu, or omniscient, but the living entity is Anu, or atomic. Because he is a living soul, he has the capacity to desire by his free will. Such desire is fulfilled only by the omnipotent Lord, and so, when the living entity is bewildered in his desires, the Lord allows him to fulfill those desires. But the Lord is never responsible for the actions and reactions of the particular situation which may be desired. Being in a bewildered condition, therefore, the embodied soul identifies himself with a circumstantial material body and becomes subjected to the temporary misery and happiness of life. The Lord is the constant companion of the living entity as Paramatma or the Supersoul, and therefore he can understand the desires of the individual soul, as one can smell the flavor of a flower by being near it. Desire is a subtle form of conditioning for the living entity. The Lord fulfills his desire as he deserves. Man proposes and God disposes. The individual is not therefore omnipotent in fulfilling his desires. The Lord, however, can fulfill all desires, and the Lord, being neutral to everyone, does not interfere with the desires of the minute independent living entities. However, when one desires Krishna, the Lord takes special care and encourages one to desire in such a way that one can attain to him and be eternally happy. The Vedic hymns therefore declare, Esaho yaiva sadhu karma karyati tam yam abhyam lokebhya unnisate Esaho eva sadhu karma karyati yam adho ninishate. The Lord engages the living entity in pious activities so that he can be elevated. The Lord engages him in impious activities so that he may go to hell. This is from Kaushitaki Upanishad, verse 3.8. Agnujantur anishoyam atmana sukha dukkhayo ishvare prerito gachet sarvagam vashvarbhram evacha. The living entity is completely dependent in his distress and happiness. By the will of the Supreme, he can go to heaven or hell, as a cloud is driven by the air. Therefore, the embodied soul, by his immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, causes his own bewilderment. Consequently, although he is constitutionally eternal, blissful, and cognizant, due to the littleness of his existence, he forgets his constitutional position of service to the Lord and is thus entrapped by nescience. And under the spell of ignorance, the living entity claims that the Lord is responsible for his conditional existence. The Vedanta Sutra 2.1.34 also confirms this. Vaishamya nagrayena spakek satva tatha darshayati. The Lord neither hates nor likes anyone, though he appears to. So now we will read some invocation prayers, and those of you know can recite along with me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Malitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri रूपं साग्रजातं सहगना लघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you all for assembling here, and also to those that are watching online. This is a very last-minute prepared class. As how many of you were here yesterday for the festival? Anyone? Hariko. So we had a very special festival yesterday, the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, who is in the center, the tiny deities in the middle. And it's a very special occasion for us Vaishnavas, because it also marks the New Year for Vaishnavas, and we had a grand celebration. So yeah, I was busy preparing for that, and I had the class today. So hopefully, I am praying and seeking for your blessing that I am able to deliver something of benefit to you all, and also for my purification. So yeah, this is a very interesting verse because it answers one of our deepest philosophical question. Is God responsible for our suffering? Who thinks that God is responsible for our suffering? Anyone? Any hands? No? But I mean, in verse 9.6, he also says that not even a single blade of grass moves without his sanction. So, why does all the calamities happen in the world? Why do we suffer? If nothing happens without his will, then why are we suffering? Good question, right? I'm sure everyone must have thought about it at some point of time. So let's see if we can answer this question in this class. But before we go to that, let's quickly have a recap of what we have covered in this chapter so far, as we're on verse 15. So this chapter is entitled Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. And in the beginning of this chapter, Arjuna is confused again. He was confused in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, and he's confused again. So he asked Krishna a question. Krishna, you sometimes praise renunciation and sometimes karma yoga. Which is better? Because in the whole chapter, in the previous chapters, in the chapters 2 and 4, Krishna, he has glorified knowledge, sometimes he has glorified renunciation, and Krishna also asks him to fight. So Arjuna is wondering, which is superior? Is renunciation superior, or is working in devotional superior? So Arjuna is thinking, should I just renounce everything and go to the forest and just meditate somewhere? Or should he act and actually follow Krishna's instruction to fight? So that is his confusion. And Krishna immediately responds to his question in the next verse itself, in verse 2. And Krishna says that both renunciation of work and work in devotion, they lead to liberation. But of the two, karma yoga is better. Did anyone think that would be the answer? I mean, naturally would think, isn't it, renunciation is better than karma yoga? Why should we be acting if we can just go into the forest and meditate somewhere? But no, Krishna is saying that yes, he's not rejecting renunciation over here. He's not saying that renunciation is bad or we shouldn't do renunciation. But because Arjuna asked which is superior, Krishna is just telling him that karma yoga is better. And he's saying that because in this day and time, how many of us can actually renounce everything and just go to the forest and meditate, sit and meditate? Any super soul here? Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, forget going into the forest. How many of us can even just renounce things and come and live in an ashram life, taking up an orange robe and just give up all the family life and work and every other responsibility? It's a difficult choice, isn't it? Yes, and Krishna knows that very well because as it's mentioned in the purport, Prabhupada says that he's a Paramatma and he knows everything. He's sitting right next to our soul and he sees everything. He sees our desires. So knowing that, that's why for us, he's saying that it's better that we perform act keeping Krishna in the center, which is karma yoga. And he also says, I mean, it's also artificial renunciation without actually purifying the heart. It just leads to hypocrisy. Because externally, we may renounce everything, but internally, we will be meditating upon the same things that we have renounced. So what's the point? So rather, that's why Prabhupada also explained this, that one suddenly cannot renounce unless the heart is pure. So that's why Krishna is saying it's better you act, but keep me in the center. And later on in the next few verses, Krishna is further deepening this, what he's trying to explain. So he's trying to explain what real renunciation is. And real renunciation is not giving up all the external things that we think of. It is actually from internal. He's talking about giving up attachments, the innumerable attachments that we have, the desire for fruit. Whenever we are acting something, we're always desiring as a result of that, isn't it? And also the false identification as the doer. So he's saying, give up attachments, give up desire for fruits, and false identification as the doer. We need to understand that we are not the doers. It's actually, we are just the instruments. The doer is actually we are acting under the material nature, the prakriti. And in 5.3, Krishna says that one who neither hates nor desires the fruit of activities is known to be always renounced. So again, renunciation is not internal, but renunciation is internal, not external. And then in verse 4 and 5, Krishna goes on to comparing jnana and karma yoga. And he says that both these actually lead to the same goal. Those who are immature, they think that knowledge and action are actually different. But the wise, they can see that either you take the path of jnana or you take the path of karma yoga. At the end, you will reach the goal, which is purification and self-realization. But we need to understand that without devotion, just having the knowledge, just attaining jnana is difficult. In 5.6, he says that renunciation without devotional service is difficult and causes distress. Then from verse 7 to 13, Krishna is trying to describe what actually a realized person looks like. So that person who is able to renounce everything, what does he look like? So the self-realized soul thinks that actually I don't do anything. I am not the doer. Because he is just acting externally. He's performing his activities, the body that he has received in this birth. He's fulfilling his responsibilities and everything that he needs to be done, he's doing. But internally, he's not attached to anything. Because he understands that he is not this body. He is the soul. So as a soul, he has no attachment to anyone. Not everything that he has in this life is Krishna's gift to him, and he is just here to perform his duty and dharma, and that's what he does. So in 5.10, Krishna says that one who offers his work to the Supreme is not affected by sinful actions. Here Krishna is introducing the key theme that action offered to him does not bind. Because anything that we do, whether it be pious or impious, we have to bear the result of it. If we perform pious activities, then we get the result accordingly. Maybe, maybe some of them we get immediate reactions. So let's say if we studied really hard for our exams and we go write the exams, we get good results, and as a result of that we maybe get a good job. And some of them takes maybe another lifetime. So if we perform pious activities, maybe next life we will get a birth in a family with all riches or opulences, or even better than that, we will get a demigod life. But that does not free us from the main problem of this earth, which is, yes, repeated cycle of birth and death. It does not free us. Even if we do get, even if you become Brahma, which is like the highest living entity that anyone can attain, even then he has to go through the cycle of birth and death. So, same if we perform sinful activities, then we receive the results. Sometimes immediately, or otherwise we go to hellish planet and we are tortured there, and again it's the same repeated birth and death. So that's why Krishna is making it clear over here that if you actually perform your act and then offer it to me, that does not bind you and it frees you from all this bondage. And then we reach verse 14, which is just the one before this, where the Lord is saying that the Lord does not create activities, nor doership, nor the fruits of action. And in continuation of that, in this verse, he is saying that nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. So far, the flow of logic is that Krishna is saying to Arjuna, to the answer of Arjuna's question, that you must act, do not renounce artificially, but act without attachment and offer all the results to me. Understand that you are not the doer, and the Lord is not responsible for your karma. And in today's verse, we also learn that it's actually the ignorance that is covering our knowledge, which is causing the bondage. So now, coming to today's verse, before that, I would just ask, why is actually Krishna emphasizing this? Why is Krishna trying to emphasize this point? That he does not take responsibility of our sin or pious activities. Sorry? Yeah, exactly. He's trying to put this straight, because oftentimes when we do something wrong, or some kind of we are in some kind of problems, we're like, God made me do this. If God is the supreme, then he is responsible for everything. Why should we take responsibility? But that's exactly as Kishori said, that Krishna is establishing the personal responsibility over here. He's telling us that you need to be responsible for your actions. And Prabhupada also writes that the living entity is always bewildered by ignorance, and thus he acts. The key word in this verse is ajnana, which is ignorance. So it's actually our ignorance that is covering our knowledge, and because of which we perform the acts that we perform. And even though, yes, Krishna is the supreme, but he is not responsible for our actions. And in this verse, Krishna is described as Vibhu, the supreme, the greatest. Does anyone remember what does that mean? It was explained in the purport. 6 opulences. Sorry? Most intelligent. Perfect. Yes, actually. So he's described as Vibhu because that's a definition of Bhagavan. And this is also given in Vishnu Puran 6.5.47, where it says, Aishwaryasya samagrasya virasya yasasa shriya yana vairagyayos chaiva sanabhaga iti gana. So the translation is, one who possesses in full the 6 opulences, wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, is Bhagavan. So that's the definition of Bhagavan, because he actually has all the 6 opulences. And Prabhupada often emphasizes this definition when he's trying to explain who Bhagavan is. So now let's quickly discuss about his 6 opulences that he possesses. Before that, you know anyone who has all of the 6 opulences in full? Is there anyone that you can say that can be called Bhagawan? So if someone comes to you and says that, oh, I am Bhagawan, you ask them to show them their 6 opulences. And then they will be, you'll know who is who. Okay, so the first opulence, which is wealth, Aishwarya. Krishna owns everything. We all come from him, all the planets, all the demigods, everything rests upon him. Even Lakshmi Devi, who is the goddess of fortune, she's eternally serving him. And not just one Lakshmi Devi, but thousands of Lakshmi Devi. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Gaur Nitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So, yes, thousands and thousands of Lakshmis are serving him. So, who can be wealthier than him? If the goddess of fortune herself is serving him. In 5.5 also, like in this verse, that's why he's saying that he does not take our sin or piety, because he has all the power, he does not lack power, he owns everything already. Then the next opulence, which is strength, virya. So Krishna displays unlimited strength even as a child. How old was he when he killed Putana? That was Sakatasura. Yes. Yes. I mean, some say 6, 7, yeah. Anyways, a 6, 7 day old child. He didn't perform any austerity, he didn't perform any penances, he didn't go to the gym to build his strength, he was just 6 day old. And yet, he managed to take Putana's life. And then you said 3 months that was Sakatasura. So how did he kill Sakatasura? Anyone knows? Yeah. So did he use any external weapons or any other external physical strength? No, it was his own strength. So you see, it's a natural and it's unlimited. And that's how we see that Krishna is powerful. And not only that, he even lifted the Govardhan hill for 7 days on his left hand tiny little finger. Yeah, on the nail of tiny little finger. So, there are numerous occasions where he has shown his strength. So we have no doubt about that. Then the next opulence is fame. His fame is universal. He appeared on this earth about 5,000 years ago, and yet we are still reading his pastimes, chanting his name daily, talking about him, and worshipping him in his form. And is there any political leader or celebrity that you remember from even 100 years ago? No, isn't it? But Krishna, there is no way of that we can forget him. And I'm just covering this in brief because, the purport was quite large and there's a lot of points to cover. So let's see what time allows me to do. And then the next opulence is beauty, which is Shri. So Krishna is described as the most beautiful. Even Cupid becomes attracted to him. And his beauty is actually not spiritual. It is spiritual, not material. And he's ever youthful. The Krishna we see in the form of deity, he's the same 16-year-old youth, never grows old, does not have gray hair, doesn't have wrinkles like we will do. So he's ever youthful and ever beautiful. And then the next opulence is knowledge. So who spoke this Bhagavad Gita that we're discussing about today? Krishna, exactly. So if you're following his teachings and everything that he has said, it's like exactly correct. There's no doubt about that. And he also says in 7.26 of Bhagavad Gita that he knows everything that has happened in the past, he knows everything that is happening now, and he also knows everything that is yet to come. So his knowledge is absolutely complete. And then the last opulence, which is renunciation, vairagya. So this one is especially important for understanding the verse today. Because, although he owns everything, as I mentioned earlier, he is detached. He does not actually, he has created, we are all his minute particles, he has created all these planets and everything basically, but yet he's aloof of it. He remains unaffected. And also, as stated in verse 9.9, he mentions there that these activities that actually don't bind him. And this is the true renunciation, owning everything, yet being detached, not being attached to anything. And then when we understand these opulences, we understand why Krishna is actually not implicated to our karma. Because we see that he's the most powerful, he's the most knowledgeable, he's fully independent, fully renounced. So he doesn't actually need our punya, nor is he diminished by our papa or our sinful activities. So it is us actually. We act, we desire, we choose. The only thing that he does is sanctions. If you look at it, as his minute particles, that is where our independence is coming from, because he's independent, and that's why we have his quality, that we are also independent. We are independent to desire. But because we are his minute particles, we have the minute independence to desire. So the only thing that we actually have independence to is that we can have our unlimited desires. But even to fulfill those desires, we need his sanction. Without that, it's not possible. And he's sitting as a Paramatma in our heart, and he knows about all our desires. Actually, we cannot be desireless. We need desires to keep moving in this world. The desires are what keeps everything moving in this world. So when we desire something, he makes the facility for it to be fulfilled. Now, let's connect this verse to another verse in Bhagavad Gita, which is verse 15.7, where he says that the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. So this is exactly what I was trying to explain before, about we being the fragmental parts of Krishna and having that independence. Because Krishna is independence, we are getting our minute independence from him. And that independence, it allows us to love, to serve, or rebel. That's totally up to us what we desire. Actually, how did we come? How did we come in this material planet? I know you know the answer, Marilia. Come on.
We wanted to become God.
Sorry?
We wanted to become God.
Yeah, exactly. We wanted to enjoy. We wanted to be the controller. We wanted to enjoy without Krishna. We wanted to feel what Krishna feels. And yeah, so we had that independence to have that desire, and we misused it, and we enter into this material existence out of our own choice. So can we blame God for our suffering? No. Sorry? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So if Krishna is saying that we are part and parcel of him, then wouldn't it be his responsibility to show us the right path?
Which he does.
But there and then.
He gives us the chance to desire, and he will send, it depends on us, isn't it, how surrendered we are. He has provided all the facility for us. He has given this knowledge to us. He has given us so many spiritual teachers and all the guidance. So it's totally up to us if we want to take that path or we don't. Most of the time what happens is, the way it happens is that we desire, and then we contemplate on that desire, and the moment when we think that we want to act on this desire, that's when Krishna, he comes into being, and he makes all the facilities for you to work on that desire. But before that, he gives you plenty of, if we actually surrender on to him, if we go and take the guidance, then he gives you the opportunity to rectify your desires. That's why devotees, because they're surrendered to Krishna, whenever, he's always there guiding them in form, sometimes if you have some, I don't know if it has happened to you, sometimes if you desire something that is actually not beneficial for your spiritual path, in one way or the other, he will make something happen that will change your desire or not fulfill the desire that you're having. And then later on you understand that, oh wait, maybe that was not the right thing that I was looking for.
So then, how come we see that there are so many that they go through so much suffering.
Mm-hmm.
But if they've already come to Krishna, then why are they suffering?
That is also a very good question. But then again, it depends, isn't it? Okay, one thing that we need to understand is that, yes, that Krishna, he can take our karmas away, if he wants. But again, we have to pay for our karmas. Whatever we have done, we have to pay for it. But what he does is that sometimes he reduces. It's like, let's say, I cut my finger. Like, I just have like a tiny gash or something. Maybe what was meant to happen, depending on my karma, was I was supposed to actually lose my whole finger. But what he did is that he reduced the result of my karma, and now I just have a small cut. So we still have to face our karmas. He does not take that away. We still have to go through our results. But what he does is reduces. And the thing that we're calling suffering, actually, devotees that are like very like fully pure and they don't see it as suffering. They have no pain and suffering. Like, yeah, we feel like, oh my God, they must be going through so much, but they are just fully devoted to Krishna. And sometimes it's also to set examples, to show that even when someone is suffering so much, still they completely surrendered onto me. Yeah? Okay, so this material world, it exists because we desired it to be existing. We wanted to be the controller, we wanted to enjoy without Krishna, so Krishna has created this for us. But as Prabhupada describes, this world is actually like a reformatory institution. So, government, they build schools, they also build prisons. At the same time, it's the same government that is building schools and same government building prisons. Now, if someone goes to the prison, we do not blame the government, isn't it? That this person has gone to the prison because of you. Similarly, like we can take another example, driving license, let's say. Now, everyone, they go through their certain tests, the exams or whatever, and then they get the driving license. Now, if this person uses that same license to perform a robbery, like, do a robbery somewhere, can we actually blame the government that it's you who gave the driving license to them and that is why they're doing this act? No, exactly. So, yes, so this world, it exists and, it's our prison house, if you want to say it, and Maya Devi, she is the prison head, and she's the one actually poking us with her, her trishul, or like trident, like the three material modes of nature, and trying to teach us a lesson to remind us that we need to go back to Krishna again. And times and again, we go through, as Kishori was asking, why do we suffer? That suffering is sometimes because we are out of path, and Maya Devi is trying to tell us that, come on, wake up, realize yourself, and go back to that, go back to Krishna. So, in this verse, also, as I was explaining, the term Agnanenam Vritam Jnanam is used. Over here, Krishna is saying that the knowledge is covered. He's not saying the knowledge is destroyed. So we have this eternal knowledge. But what happens is when we are in this material world, because of ignorance, because of the modes of material nature that we engage with, that knowledge is somehow covered. And the simple analogy that we can think of is when the sun is shining and then there's a bulk of cloud that comes and covers it. Does that mean the sun is gone? No, it's not gone, it's still there. But it's just that our vision is obstructed. Similarly, our original nature is the eternal servant of Krishna. But because of ignorance, that realization is covered. That knowledge is covered. And, and this leads to this cycle of karma, as I mentioned earlier. Like, we are falsely identifying ourselves as the doer, as the body, and we think we are the controllers. And because of that, innumerable material desires manifest. And when we contemplate on these desires, we think about acting, and Krishna facilitates. And that, in result, gives to reaction and rebirth. So the cycle of karma goes on and on and on. And, and it's not like Krishna is favoring one over the other. Sometimes we may feel that, no, Krishna has given facilities to these devotees that's why they have come into contact with Krishna consciousness or some kind of devotion, and they are in a better place than us. But it's not that, because Krishna is not favorable. I mean, he does not favor anyone. And we see that even in Mahabharata, when just before the war started, Krishna gave the opportunity to both the Pandavas and the Kauravas to decide, who, if they wanted Krishna on their side. Arjuna was clever, and he chose Krishna. Duryodhana, not so much. So he's not partial to anyone. But we have a good news that this knowledge that has been covered by ignorance, it can actually be restored. And this is actually, Krishna explains this in the next verse. I don't want to steal the points for the person who's going to speak tomorrow. But he says that when knowledge is actually awakened, the ignorance is destroyed. And this is through bhakti, through devotional act. Srila Prabhupada repeatedly says that Krishna consciousness is actually the original consciousness of the living entity. So we are not adding anything artificial. We are just trying to uncover what already is existing there. So, I see that the time is running. I only have 8 minutes. So I will conclude my class that by saying that actually we are not the puppets and we are not the victims. We are a responsible soul with divine potentials. And Krishna is actually not the cause of our suffering. We ourselves are. We just need to realize that and turn to Krishna. And he will be there to guide us. So Krishna he's actually constantly trying to remove that ignorance. And he's doing that through his name because it has the same potency as he himself. So he has sent, the merciful incarnation of Chaitanya. I mean, he has come himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and given us that holy name. He has sent his, fellow warriors like Prabhupada to empower us and, give us this knowledge. The whole Guru Parampara, in fact. And also given us the association of devotees, just like all of you have gathered here today. I mean, maybe maybe you just thought of coming and seeing the deities, but here you are seated in a Gita class and trying to associate with devotees, and hopefully I'm making sense and you're getting something out of the class. So that is all due to his mercy and due to his warriors like Prabhupada's mercy. And so the real question becomes will we choose the knowledge or will we remain to be covered? That is a choice that we have to make. Do we actually want to take up this path that has been given to us, or we want to stay covered and be in this ignorance? The choice is ours. So we have 6 more minutes, and I will stop here so that if anyone has any questions, they can ask. Any questions? Yes? Mm-hmm.
So how can we purify our desires?
That's a very good question, yes. Yeah, so, as I mentioned that it's natural for us to desire. Even Krishna desires, and that is why we desire. But the way we can change that is we start desiring for Krishna. We cannot stop desiring, so instead of having material desires, we turn into spiritual desires. So let's say, sorry, I'm also having a cold. So let's say if we are desiring to have something tasty, for instance. So instead of just desiring to have something tasty, we can desire to have some tasty prasadam. Let's say if you want to listen to something good, listen to some good music or, have some, Then instead of listening to just any random Bollywood song or Hollywood song or whatever you listen to, we can listen to some kirtan. So desire is always going to be there. It's just that we have to change it to spiritual desire so that we can serve Krishna and engage our senses in serving Krishna. Yeah? Anyone else has any question? There is no such thing as dumb question or foolish question, so feel free to ask anything that you'd like to ask. No? Okay, so we have 4 minutes and then we'll have the Gaura Aarti, the evening Aarti that is. So I encourage everyone for you to stay, and thank you all for your time and patience. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. What is it? Next Wednesday we're having Srivas Thakur's appearance day. So in 1 week on the 11th. And Kripa Mahaprabhu should be giving a class. It's 5:30. If it's possible to get any kind of garland for him, that would be nice. I mean, I don't know if you have to make one specially for him. You can maybe get a Maha garland, you know, or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever,
We see whatever flowers we have.
whatever works
How
for
good they last the next day.
Yeah.
Whatever they can see fresh.
Okay.
But of it, yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Haribol. Okay, Hare Krishna everybody. In a couple of minutes or less, we'll be having Arati, so I'm just requesting everybody to stand up for the Arati. And if you'll notice, at the back of the temple room, we have the Murti of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So we don't want to have our backs directly to Srila Prabhupada, yes? He's facing the deities. The Lord is also looking at his dearmost servant. So we want to keep at least a narrow corridor at the center of the temple room. You don't have to